Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Spiker Christensen. Weed, Bush, Skunkamola, White Widow Super Cheese. It's the new Gold Rush.
In honor
And
of
we've
McConaughey.
That's right. All right. Texas. All right. We've got Jordan Christensen on the podcast.
Give me a second.
Well, there's like a million to choose from.
I know. I'm trying to pick my favorite. Anything that
Trying to
Hugh
pick
Jack.
the least offensive one.
I know.
This one upsets this group of people. This one upsets this group of people.
Let's get some back and forth, Jordan.
I just thinking of which of Hugh Jackman's Hugh Grant, which one of his quotes I want to do, because there's so many good ones. Something along the lines where he's like snipping each other's intellectual. How did he word it?
And we've got Cameron Mickle on the podcast.
My wife.
What? Oh, my wife.
That's like the best line ever. He's like,
dang it, that is the best line.
Well, I'm not emotional about the money. No amount of money on green earth can atone for this. My wife. My wife.
Dude, and the music in that scene too.
Yeah, the score comes in. So good.
Chills.
Love it. And today, special guest, Evan Bartholio. Should have practiced that before. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you nailed it.
Got it.
Don't stand near me, son. You got your mouthwash mudded up with cat piss.
If you're gonna stop.
I'm gonna stop. You can do that accent, so I can't do.
Oh, you know the other quote that I thought of, Cameron, that I love, and it reminds me so much of Brad Pitt from Snatch, when he's like, at the dog when it almost bites him or surprises him. When he leans on the grill and he's like, oh, that punched.
I'm hot. He's like, it is hot.
It is hot.
Yeah,
guys, today we're reviewing.
Guy Ritchie designed that that smoker for the movie. Isn't it sick?
That does not surprise me. Dude's got style. Like, he got all of their suits and everything. I love that they mentioned that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Seriously.
Wait, he like gifted them, or wait, what is that?
He just dressed everybody because he
was the
like
costume designer.
Yeah.
And he would take people like shopping and like to get into like got to choose essentially like what their character would kind of look like.
Yeah.
Which Hugh Grant's get up is my favorite. The shades. I love how he looks.
Play a game with me, Ray. Raimundo.
So I like let's get into what was like watching it the first time and rewatching it for
also, what are we talking about?
Well, okay. See, I got into it and then you mentioned Guy Ritchie. So yeah, we're talking about The Gentleman. This movie came out in 2019. It's directed by Guy Ritchie, written by Guy Ritchie, Ivan Atkinson, and Martin Davies. And
we're talking about his movie, not the TV show.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I felt like that was kind of timely, Cameron. Are you planning on watching the TV show? Is that why we're doing this? Or was this just a kind of a fling or a spur of the moment kind of pick?
No, I do want to watch the TV show though. And also
right.
I just shown Evan this past weekend, The Gentleman, and it's in my top 15. So I was like, I'm like, can't believe we haven't reviewed this.
Oh, wow. I'm interested to know how many Guy Ritchie films you've seen. Have you seen pretty much all of them, or because you mentioned
no,
Snatch,
I've seen a lot of his like popular ones. I have not.
Yeah.
Like I've seen Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. I've seen Snatch. I've seen Man from U.N.C.L.E., Sherlock Holmes, Aladdin.
I know, it's so weird to say that. You're like, Guy
You've
Ritchie
seen King Arthur too, right, Karen?
Yeah, I've seen King Arthur. So I've seen a lot of like his big box office ones.
So basically, you've seen them all. I'm trying to think what you haven't seen. Wrath of Man. There's literally nothing left.
Wrath of Man. Well, there's some that he's did like in like the early 2000s that I haven't
like in
seen.
the UK. Yeah, but we don't acknowledge those as films. Filthy
in it.
In it, governor.
and it has a star-studded cast.
I know, it's got Matthew McConaughey, Charlie Hunnam. Who the heck is Charlie Hunnam? I only know him as Sons of Anarchy, even though I haven't watched Sons of Anarchy. And then I know he's in King Arthur. So like, I think he'll keep getting work as long as Guy Ritchie is his friend and keeps using him. But
yeah, he was.
Does he have a problem? Like, why don't I? Is he forgettable? You guys like Charlie Hunnam?
In this, yeah.
He's great.
He did fine. He did fine. I still feel like anyone else could have done it. Like every time I see him, I'm like, oh, it's discount or like good value brand Tom Hardy or something. That's what I think when I see Charlie Hunnam. No offense. Like anyway, Michelle Dockery, Jeremy Strong, Lynn Renee, Colin Farrell, Henry Golding, Tom Wu, and Hugh Grant, of course, and a few others. So Let's get into what was it like watching this movie for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast. Let's start with you, Cameron.
I'm trying to remember when the first Jordan, did you show me this?
I don't remember.
It might.
Probably.
I think it might have. I'm trying to remember. Can't even remember the first time I watched this. But I'm pretty sure I watched this before Snatch. Maybe I watched it after. But I just remember. I just remember watching either this and then Jordan recommending Snatch, or watching Snatch and then Jordan recommending this. Because like, if you liked that, you're gonna love this. And that's what, like, first time watching it, I just remember being like super wowed by this. Because to me, this is like a little bit. It's like a bigger budget, a little bit more refined Snatch. Because I think this is slightly better just for me. I think this is just so enjoyable. And the craziest thing for me is, and I think with a lot of Guy Ritchie films like this, Snatch and Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, I think they're one of those movies that benefits so much from a rewatch. Because the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, that was really good. But it was like, I think 70s or 80s in my top 100. And then I've seen it over like 8 times now. And every time it just keeps like slowly working its way down. And it's such a fun one to show people, because it's just like, it's crazy that it's like two.
What do you mean working its way down? You mean up?
Like down to a lower number.
Which
Down
movie
is good,
though
Jordan.
is
You
moving
wanna
down?
go
Up in
down.
your favorite.
So number 1 in my top 100 is good.
So it's climbing the ranks. We'll put it that way.
Okay, well, you just keep saying it's going down. I'm confused, because wouldn't that mean it's getting worse?
No,
Down in
it's
my
it's
top
all
100,
downhill from here.
Jordan.
No, it's all uphill from here. People want to go
Jordan
up.
is really struggling with
Uphill
that.
is harder. Downhill is easier.
To clarify,
I know.
going down in my top 100.
No, I'll be
means
honest. I thought Cameron just misspoke, but
higher
he's like, no, his bottom of his list is his favorite movie, Jordan. That makes total sense.
Oh my gosh, no, you guys. Anyway, but like, it's such an easy movie to recommend to people, because it's like an hour 53, but the pacing of it is just like, it was funny because when I was showing this to Evan, he was like, oh, we can just watch like the first 30 minutes of this because I have to go do something. And I was like, okay, no worries. And then like 45 minutes in, he hadn't said anything, and then I kind of like paused it. I was like, do you need to go? And he's just like, I do,
What?
but like the pacing is just so good. He's like, I've been waiting for a moment for it to slow down so we can stop it. And he's like, it just hasn't. And so
I should have known better with Guy Ritchie.
yeah. And so just the pacing of this is just so fun. And I think it's a little bit, it's kind of a lot to digest on the first watch, but rewatching it is just so enjoyable, because it's easier to just like appreciate the humor and like understand this, kind of what's going on.
Love it. Evan, how about you? What was it like watching this movie for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast?
Yeah, so like Cam said, just watched it for the first time a couple weeks ago, and I like took down some notes because Cam kind of gave me the outline of how you guys do this, and this is what I wrote down. I said, of course, it's all over the place. My initial reaction was that Guy Ritchie was just projectile vomiting, metaphorically and literally, his style everywhere, just because he just like, his style just leaks through everything in every moment. And I kind of think, and again, I've only seen it once, I kind of think he prioritizes his style kind of at the expense of like a normal flowing story. But like, his storytelling is super unique and it is all over the place. But that was like maybe my one gripe with the whole entire movie, was just that it was like just super all over the place, and so many stylistic choices made over actual like action or suspense in the movie. And I think like the two scenes that come to my mind that like kind of explain the way I'm thinking is Hugh Grant like exaggerates this moment between Michael and what's his name? Dry Asian.
Brian.
No, before that, whenever he's like making an offer and he's like doing the math on his calculator or whatever.
No, yeah. Is behind him.
Oh yeah, you're right. He is in the back.
Yeah.
And he like whips out his gun and just
Right now,
absolutely
Jordan's
goes to
thinking,
battle.
do I need to edit this guy's name or not?
I'm going to.
He's going to. That's part of the humor, folks. If you're not in on the joke, there's a character's name spelled PHO. Is that right? Oh no, it is UC. Okay, perfect. So just a little.
Yeah, but overall loved it. Like, thought it was super fun. And like Cam said, it was just, there was no moment to stop. And it kept pulling me back in. So super fun. I'm excited to rewatch it.
Excellent.
The guy's name does remind me of Overboard when the guy's trying to describe a seal and he's saying it in Spanish. He's like, "Oh," and the girl, "Oh, you can't say that on the air."
No, see you. It's good. Jordan, how about you watching Gentleman for the first time?
Yes,
Excuse me, The Gentleman. Excuse me.
I do love Guy Ritchie's style, and I mentioned in my review, going along with what you just said, it's Evan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I also wrote in my review, it's the Guy Ritchiest of his films. Just like Cameron said, and that's why Cameron, I think, loves it the most, is because it is so much like his style is basically being vomited out on the screen. All of Guy Ritchie movies I enjoy and I can appreciate. And so I went and saw his movie in the theater. I didn't walk out like I did out of what's the Man from Uncle?
You're such a hater, bro.
You left that movie?
Yeah, I walked out.
Man from Uncle is like one of his best films.
It's his
Gosh.
worst.
Oh yeah, that one's a banger.
It's a good
Anyways,
one, dude.
so Cameron's moving down list. I don't know, his thing didn't make any sense, but it is moving down mine. And I'm sorry, Cameron. Like,
and not in the way that Cameron's is falling down the list.
Yeah, because mine makes sense. It is falling down. But when I first saw it, I actually loved it in the theater so much, and I thought it was one of the greatest trailers of all time. And I was like, this is the greatest movie. And it maybe if I was still in high school, I would think it's my favorite movie. But I don't know. Maybe it is going along with what Evan said. It's just it's like so much style. I prefer Wrath of Man. I know that's a hot take, but it's my favorite of his films.
Saying Man from Uncle sucks, and then saying your favorite.
I know Jordan's all over the place.
I know.
I'll defend it. Jordan may not realize this, but he's just admitted openly on the pod that we're not the target demographic anymore. Movies are tailored to entertain Cameron and Evan's age, not me and Jordan's age. We're not for millennials. It's for Gen Zs, man. Even the boxing video made me cringe. I don't know why the two boxers running through and smashing the whole place up. I don't know why. I'm like, oh, like
I know.
And the youth annoy me today, and I'm like, oh no, I'm getting old. I'm freaking Colin Farrell. Take the dang video down. No.
I know. But my favorite scene was when Colin Farrell was slapping the crap out of those kids. I'm like, yes.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, sweet, yeah, slap those kids around. Smack them harder.
Teach them a lesson.
I can
now put the money down and run, boy.
Run, boy. I love it. Yeah, come on, come at me. You. It's like that's the best you got. That was disappointing. Yeah. I love it.
Come on, give us it back and forth. What's that intelligent, witty?
Trying to goad out of them to insult him. Thought that was really funny. It's the coach. This is the coach. Oh my gosh. So guys, my time now to talk about what it was like watching it for the first time.
My time up here.
I watched this when I was living in an apartment building, and I know because like I wanted to get up, start fighting. It's like, let's go, start punching my bag, start doing some more high intensity workouts. I want to become a gypsy
boxer.
Yeah, dude. I was like, let's go, dude.
I fought it. What did he say?
What did he say? You like dags? And see, now I'm quoting the other guy. It's like all dags. The things. But I also I remember the meta elements from the first time I watched it and rewatching it. This is like a complex movie. It's like try to explain the plot. It's like there's a lot of moving parts. Like try to sell the plot of this movie to a friend, like to watch it, right? You're like, just watch it. It's fun. It's a mobster gangster movie. You can watch it for that reason.
Oh, I definitely highly recommended watching it at least once. Like,
yeah, but like trying to explain the plot of this movie is hard. Like, I'm not even gonna do the plot synopsis.
It's like, dude, try to explain Snatch. It's like, a dog swallows a diamond.
Well, you can just say it's a gangster flick. Like,
right? Well, that's the genre. But again, plot-wise, like if you looked at Goodfellas, you're like, okay, well, it's a guy in witness protection reflecting on his life as a gangster, and pretty easy to sell that and understand it conceptually, and then his adventures as a gangster. And this one, it's like, well, there's a guy that's writing a screenplay about some dirty witness or about.
It's like, well, what story do you want to tell? Do you want to tell his meta, like him pitching his idea to the studio? And I think it's basically Guy Ritchie like saying, "Hey, I want to do a TV series," and they let him have it.
100%. Yeah. So that's kind of the fun meta narrative that I caught more onto this time. But I had also just forgotten so much of the movie. I was like, oh my gosh, like there's so much of this movie I've forgotten. I think it's because Cameron mentioned it breezes by. It's like it's just breakneck speed, quick cuts like Guy Ritchie would have, and it just keeps moving. So anyway, it was a fun rewatch. Let's get into two of our favorite things. What are your two favorite Guy Ritchie isms, Cameron? You start us off.
We probably should start with Jordan because he probably has very few because he's hating
No,
us.
if you say mine, I'm just going to reiterate it. So
No, you go first. You go first.
Let's hear it, Jordan.
my
Age Before Beauty, I think Cameron was referencing.
Again,
you just witnessed it on the podcast, folks. Jordan is too old to review Guy Ritchie films.
That's fine. I don't care. So I love two characters, and it's Colin Farrell. Amazing. His performance was so good. Such a great character, and he played it perfectly. And he was very funny, and every time he was on screen, I was just like had the biggest smile on. And the second person is Hugh Grant. And I don't know what it is.
Fletcher.
Bit of a Fletcher.
I don't know.
The Hugh Grant-assance, man.
Yeah, I don't know what it is lately, but I've loved him in like everything he's been doing lately. Because he was so good in the D&D one. What's that called?
Dungeons and Dragons.
Sorry.
I love him Paddington too. That's like one of my favorites. So like, around this time,
Paddington 2
I think
is
he just
hilarious.
started playing villains rather than doing the romantic comedies. Now he's just like hamming it up as like the villain. And it's
Hey, he's great in Notting Hill. You watch it.
He was good in that. And then
We're waiting for the
Wonka,
funeral.
he played a great like Oompa Loompa.
He played it in Oompa Yeah,
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah,
what is going on? It's the freaking Hugh Grant-assance, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He's kind of the same character in the Knives Out movies too. You know, he's like kind of a little like eccentric, a little weird, like
He's in Knives Out.
He's in Knives Out.
or
You're blowing
the
my mind.
oh no, not the Glass Onion. He's
He
like,
might have been in the sequel. I wouldn't know. I can't
yeah,
remember if he
I think
was.
he's in the
the-
sequel.
I don't
in the sequel
remember
with
that,
No,
Glass
I don't
Onion.
remember the sequel at all.
That's great.
You sure you're not referring? You're confusing him with Daniel Craig.
Or Edward Norton.
No,
Or
no, no.
Edward
Daniel
Norton.
Craig. Daniel Craig's the main guy.
Detective,
He's
yeah,
here, whatever. And then I'm pretty sure Hugh Grant's like his in the
No,
second
yeah,
one.
it 100% is. Yeah, you're right. He's in Glass Onion.
Okay.
And he like he doesn't really have that big of a part, but like he
Right,
answers the
right.
door and he's like the same character
Oh, that's
for some
right.
reason. So
Okay. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen Glass Onion, and I don't think I'll ever
Yeah,
rewatch
I'm
it.
not
So,
gonna rewatch it.
but thanks for
Yeah, probably
referring.
not.
Because I'm sure if I saw that clip, I'd be like, yeah, he definitely was the best part of that movie. So,
I believe that.
Yeah,
So yeah, both their
funny.
performances hilarious. Everything that just the way they deliver the lines, their performances, their get up, it was all perfect. And honestly, it got me excited because at first when we started, I'm like, oh man, I don't want to watch this, but I'm glad I did because their performances were excellent. And and then there's the scene taken basically from Pulp Fiction when they walk in the room and it's that whole gangster moment, right? Isn't that like basically what you guys felt? I don't know, maybe not.
Like what?
Like
In what scene in
it
Pulp
felt more like
Fiction?
a True Romance. Is that what we're talking about? Just everyone.
No,
with
no,
guns
Pulp
blazing?
Fiction. So that the scene where he comes in and is it Fletcher? The guy doesn't want to go inside the house with the junkies. And it's basically the scene where Samuel Jackson and John Travolta come in, and then he's like, "This is a tasty burger." That whole
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I
yeah,
thought-
Pulp Fiction. Okay.
I thought you were talking about the scene that he walks in on, like and then you were comparing it to the pig, and I was like, I guess.
no, that scene's more. That's Black Mirror crap right there.
Bro, cow.
Wait.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, I know, right? All
Yeah.
right. Well, thanks for sharing, Jordan. Evan, how about you? Two of your favorite things for this movie?
Kind of along the same lines as Jordan. I loved the coach. Colin Farrell's performance was just like amazing, and that character I think is so cool. I feel like lately a lot of my favorite characters in movies, the way that they're written, they don't say a ton. It's just more like their actions and what they don't say and their moments of silence. And I just think like the coach is such a cool written character, and just loved every part of him. And like he's like you're wondering the whole time how involved in the mob world is he, because he also shows at times that he like cares about his crew's like well-being and preparing for fights and stuff. And so you're kind of wondering just how involved actually is he. But I also really liked Raymond in this
Right.
movie. I thought he was also a super cool character. Just I think more than anything in this movie, I appreciated how well the characters were written. And
Excellent. Cameron, how about you? Two of your favorite things from this movie?
kind of similar to what's been mentioned. Like, I think the reason the characters are so good, and like my first favorite thing is just the humor, is because of how good the writing is. Like, I just love how, like, I would never call this a comedy, but like it's almost like a gangster com. Like it's like there's so much. I love some a person expressed it as like behind every single murder is a slight grin, and it's like that is kind of like the vibe of the movie. It's just like with every kind of crazy thing that happens, it's like you're like smiling, or it's just funny scenes like that, like a scene that would be normally like very tense of like these kids pulling knives on a guy in a shop. It turns into like a funny like situation where he's like, "Come on, let's get some back and forth." Then he's like, and like Evan quoted for his intro, he's like, "Got your mouthwash muddled up with catfish," like, and he's just like making fun of them. And so I think that was what's so good. I think it's also kind of the subverting your expectations of a lot of scenes that would normally be tense. Like it's almost like that comedic, like even when the guy pulls out the machete and he's like, "Now drop," he's like, "Drop the money and run, boy." And then he just pulls out the Uzi and he's like, "Put it down," and, like, and like scares him off. Like I just think all those scenes like that are just like really fun. And then my second favorite thing is I was impressed with them making, or Guy Ritchie making Matthew McConaughey a little scary. Because at first I was kind of like, how can you make the guy who's just like the essence of like cool guy like scary and intimidating? But that's what I loved, is like you saw throughout like the movie, the setup and how it's kind of something from his past, but then like it can come up in moments. And so that's why I love that scene where he's just like, "Oh, I'm not emotional about the money." And he's like, "I'm gonna keep the business, but you're still gonna pay me for it." But then he's like, "But then you touched my wife." And then he's just like, "You're gonna give me a pound of flesh for that." And then he's like, "If you take a gram shy or a dollar or a cent short," he goes, "that fridge door doesn't open." And then I just love like just his overall performance. I was just like so wowed with. So I mean, there's a bunch of other things, but I'll just save some for you, Ty.
Yeah, that
No,
ending
that's
turned
good.
into like a scene from the Saw movie, taking a pound of flesh.
Except unlike the Saw movies that are disgusting, it doesn't show that.
Yeah, leave it to your imagination.
Yeah, but my
Saw
imagination is
like-
worse, Cameron.
No, Jordan. I can
Yeah,
tell
where do you
you
think
for a
where do you think
fact.
he took the pound off of his body?
I know, that's what I
Jordan-
kept thinking. He's too skinny. He's a toothpick. What is he gonna do?
Bro, the
His butt cheek?
hips and butt are the move.
Forearms, dude.
Yeah.
I know it sucked, but ugh.
Yeah, I know, because I was like, I wouldn't want to lose a hand or a foot. Like that'd be horrible.
Yeah, too bad he didn't have to deal with John Doe and just, get fattened up with a bunch of spaghetti and have his flesh ripped that way. The glutton. All right, shout out to Glutton. That guy's got the pound of flesh.
Or
Ate
kept
so much he
alive.
burst.
Sloth.
That's gonna be like something I think about every day for the rest of the year.
So foul.
No,
That
I'm gonna
guy's-
think about sloth for the rest of the year.
Oh my gosh.
Guys, okay, so my two favorite, so we mentioned the meta elements. I love the idea of Guy Ritchie going in, and I almost feel like he would go in and already edit a 2-minute quick cut fast zooms of him meeting the executives of the TV show, and he's like, "This is what it's going to be," and they're like, "Oh yeah, I get it." So it's like, in my show, I'm going to talk about how I came in here and I wowed all you, and you gave me money to make this show. Like, I don't know why. I just like, he just grabs his laptop and turns it toward them. He's like, "It's like this,"
Basically a pitch meeting, yeah.
Yeah, a mini pitch meeting, but he's like, "This is how it's going to play out," and I think it's fun that when you let loose too, I feel like everyone's having fun. Like, I think Colin Farrell, it's funny because I see this, and for some reason I think so much of Penguin and the Batman, like Colin Farrell going on to be Penguin. I'm almost like, this almost feels like a mini audition in a way where he's just like letting loose in a mob movie, and I'm like, I feel like that's what landed him the role and as Penguin, and
I think
Matt Reeves
this and in
Batman.
Bruges definitely got him the
In-
role.
In Bruges, yeah, I could see that, but I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Instead of doing Bruges.
I mean, it's just nice to see him letting loose. Like I said, Hugh Grant's obviously having a time of his life. The only one that didn't look like he was having fun was Josh Hunnam, or Charlie Hunnam, excuse me. And but I get it. He's got to be the,
Yeah, it's because he's the one that gets to make sure that Matthew McConaughey doesn't have to worry. So that sounds like a terrible.
Exactly. I know that's a big job, but anyway, it's just funny because everyone else gets to ham it up and kind of really go for it. And that's why I think it'd be fun to be in a Guy Ritchie film. My second favorite, you guys have mentioned the performances. Like I said, I like Hugh Grant just popping up in little roles. He's just hamming it up. Cameron mentioned the comedy of it. There's definitely a lot of laughs to be had, even though for me it's hard to like even pin down like what I would find funny. Like if you try to explain a joke in this movie to someone who hasn't seen it, this movie feels very much like if you've seen it, you're in the know. Edgar Wright too, like
because it's a
another
lot of visual
styling.
humor.
It's like you had to be there, kind of inside joke.
Yeah. Because you're like,
You wouldn't
it's
really
funny.
get it.
Like people fall out a window by accident. It's really funny, and you're like, that's like to their death, but it's kind of funny. Like
it's the gravity that killed him.
It's the gravity that killed him. Yeah.
Yeah, invest in some parachutes.
So yeah, I like that. So if you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't seen it, you're thinking like, maybe I'll give this movie a shot, and they're like, that's not funny. Life is sacred.
Yeah,
Get your pearl clutching and just have fun. Like that's what this movie is.
If
It's
you're
just fun.
considering watching this movie, it says the C word more than probably I've ever heard in my life.
Which is funny because I'll be honest, I just grew up completely sheltered. I've never heard this word before. Maybe because it is so crass, but like to me, it's like I don't know, it just doesn't pack the same punch as any of the other cuss words I've heard. Like, anyway. Also, I'm not a woman, so maybe it would impact me more if I knew the struggle. So, but guys, let's hear it. What would your throw out some quotes or some other funny things if you guys want?
I will say my only gripe, because I think this is a perfect movie and it's perfect in every single facet and it gets better every time. Jordan, you're crazy. The only gripe I will say that I do acknowledge is the throw up scene seems a little like, all right, is this like, what is this CGI throw up? Like, what's going on? I was like the first time watching it, I was like, is this based in reality? Like, what's going on? So every single time, I almost just like laugh at it because it's so absurd that it almost is like it's just like out of line with the movie. Like everything's like pretty grounded. It's like gangster movie. It's like most people are being shot or stabbed, and then it's just like projectile vomit. I'm like, what? And it's not just like I threw up. It's like, I'm like, this is something out of like The Thing or like a horror movie that I would expect.
I love it. Any other quotes you guys want to throw out about this movie?
Two quotes that really stood out to me, and I was talking to Cam about this after we ended the movie. The whole time, I guess going into the movie, I was kind of expecting the Kingsman vibes almost a little bit. I don't know why. I guess just with the movie poster, the way that the gentlemen look.
It does look like a Kingsman poster.
And so throughout the
golden
whole
lettering,
and throughout the whole movie, I'm like, what is gentlemanly about these guys other than the fact that they're wearing suits like these? And I guess that is like one interesting part is that these mobsters like are wearing suits whenever what comes to my mind when I think of a UK mobster is like a jumpsuit or a sweatsuit or whatever. But two quotes kind of stood out to me that like I thought were really cool to like kind of connect the dots. The first one was from Raymond whenever he's in like the apartment of the junkies and like the girl Laura, I think she like finally agrees to go home or whatever, and her boyfriend or whoever that guy is like, no babe, don't go, and Raymond like shoves him off of him, and he said, touch me again and I'll rip your arm off. I will not be manhandled by a junkie C word. And I'm like thinking in this moment, I'm like, bro, you literally are like a mobster. You are facilitating the selling of marijuana, like mass distribution of marijuana, and you think you're so much more like above someone that uses heroin. And I think like that kind of explains their whole thought of like they're gentlemanly, like they don't mess with that junkie crap, they don't mess with the heroin. And then in the scene where the projectile vomit is, Michael's talking to that guy and he says to him, he's like, my jam doesn't kill anyone, I like that, while your poison is and always has been a destroyer of worlds. So yes, your facilitation most definitely is participation. And I think like that also is like it pushes the same idea home that like these guys who have this insane marijuana ring basically taking over like the entire UK, that they totally see themselves as like posh, gentlemanly. They're not the scum junkies. They're not the problem.
I love that, dude. And you just reminded me of like the big plot point that made me laugh, and I'll never think of Down Abbey the same way, is like the idea that all these estates and manors are going down, and they're like, they don't care what goes on as long as their rent or their mortgage gets paid or whatever, the bills are paid. And so like the idea that like under all these posh estates, there's just like a weed farm underneath. So like next time I watch Down Abbey, I'll be thinking of that. And obviously you have Michelle Dockery in this movie as well. I kept thinking of Downton Abbey so many times, but like I was like, oh, that's really funny. Next time I'm thinking of like Lord Brantham is here, and then like underneath this quaint show, and people are getting lit. That's just like really funny to me. So,
and there's like a fight montage happening underneath one of those houses or something that these guys are creating. It's so funny.
My right hand strong and my left hand sturdy. My name's Ernie.
I like that. And it's funny, Jordan, the bar on their eyes, that made me think of the way you do the character intros for our bit. Yeah, for the thumbnails. That made me think of that briefly. I'm like, if they came to life, they're like, what? And they get the Futro bar right over their eyes. We should do a cut of that, like all of our photos with their eyes. I just think that's super funny.
Yeah, I love that scene too, where she's like, why are we watching fight? Like, because this fight happened at one of my farms.
I really like the part where Michelle Dockery was like, put the kettle on, the tea. I don't know, she didn't say it like that. But anyway, they're ready to
Did you
sell
watch
the
the same movie that I watched?
I know. I just love mocking the accent. No, it's good. It's all good. It's just funny because she's literally in Downton Abbey, and that you have the estates and the manors, and I'm like, it just feels like feels like Downton Abbey for gentlemen, you know. It's Downton Abbey for the boys. Even though I love Downton Abbey, I admit it. I sometimes I wonder where my went. So let's talk.
It died on the second child died.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a man anymore, guys. Guys, we end every movie podcast by sharing movies that we've seen lately and movies that we're looking forward to seeing. Evan, you got any movies that you've seen other than The Gentleman?
Yeah, actually, I rewatch old movies. I'm a big rewatcher. This week I rewatched Serendipity, a 2001, I think, rom-com with John Cusack, and Kate Beckinsale, and that is her prime. Holy cow. But new movies, I saw Arthur the King with Mark Wahlberg in theaters.
Is that the dog movie, right?
Yeah, it's the dog movie. Good wholesome movie, especially if you like dogs. I like dogs. It was
you like dags?
What? Oh,
dags.
Dogs.
Yeah, dags.
I like dags.
I'm sorry. The only thing I have to say about Serendipity is she is insane to think like if we end up on the same floor, like we should be together.
I know, man. And they both clicked 16 or 23 or whatever. Yeah, man. That's a good one. And then of course saw Dune 2, loved it, thought it was sick, and then Kung Fu Panda 4. Not as good as 1 or 2, but
what is it? Misan Gaib or whatever.
Misan Gaib.
Hassan Gaib.
He's my favorite.
I want to start hearing that just yelled in the streets. Misan Gaib. Misan Gaib.
Well, Evan, also, what did you watch 2 weekends ago? So Evan was home alone because the wife was out of town, and he was just like, all right, give me some recommendations. And so he just watched a bunch of masterpieces.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of crazy ones for the first time. I watched Blade Runner 2049 for the first time, loved it. Like, I'm excited to rewatch it because I do think it has the potential to be like an all-time favorite of mine. Just super sick movie, great performances. And then I watched Gone Girl, insane. And what else did I watch? I watched It Comes at Night. That one, it was a thinker. I was expecting a little more horror. Like, I thought I was gonna see whatever comes at night and see it like someone up or something, but it was one that like you had to think about, a little bit slow burner. I appreciated it more the more I thought about it.
If you want a real treat, you can go back and listen to our episode.
It's our worst episode because me and Ty fought the entire time.
We just fought the entire time about the meaning of it, and let's just be honest, I don't think anything was cleared up. I'm more confused than I was when I started.
And then Evan also watched Sicario.
Oh,
Dude, top 10 movie. Are you like with Evan watching these movies, or do you just send him the recommendation? I love that you're reminding him the movies he's seen.
Dude, yeah. It's because for like the last month I knew that my wife was going to be going out of town, and so I've been talking to Cam, getting a bunch of
Okay,
recommendations, and so I made a list, but I just
that's
slowly
so
deleted them. So
funny.
I can't remember. I can't remember. Did I watch more? Were there
I
more
think
that
that's
we
all of
talked
them.
about?
Yeah.
Oh,
That
Nice
is
Guys, the
so
Nice
funny.
Guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Nice
I
Guys
saw
is
that for the
great.
first
I
time.
love that.
Yeah,
Ryan
that
Gosling's
was a good
so
one.
funny. Russell Crowe and Ryan
You
Gosling
think
is
I'm
such a great team
stupid?
up.
Ever since you came Robin carrying this thing.
Well, you should create a letterbox. That's how we remember, because otherwise we just
Yeah,
forget
he's
everything.
on Letterbox. He's just been
I know.
slacking. Hasn't been.
I'm not active. I need
That's
to get
okay.
back on it. Yeah.
Ty's the
I-
same way. He never gets on.
I know. I need to write, gentlemen. I wrote another review for maybe I went and saw in theaters today because I was like, oh, it's hard. So
I know. I like
But,
Ty gets on like once a month and then throws in a couple.
I know. And then I throw in like 4 or 5 movies. Like, wow, you watched 4 movies in a day. I'm like, I know. I wish I did journal the day.
No,
but
you can actually
hours.
pick the day. You can
Oh,
actually
can
change
you
it.
edit?
Yeah.
I might need to do that just to like backdate it and be like, yeah, I saw it. Because then it's just like 4 movies in a day. This guy really is
No,
a
no.
movie
Well, I
fan.
mean,
Guy's
I'm doing that.
divorced.
So
His wife must be out of town or something. I love that you said that. You're like, my wife's out of town, so it was time to watch some masterpieces. That's just so
Oh
funny.
yeah.
Because when she's here, we're watching The Christmas Cabin and The Christmas Prince and the
Yeah,
Happened
the
on a
Hallmark
Christmas
movies.
Night. Yeah.
Real.
Oh, I love it.
Anything you're looking forward to, Evan?
The
Dude,
6
my,
episode Netflix series, The Gentleman.
I haven't seen any of the trailers, but after watching this, yeah, I do want to take a look at it. My guilty pleasure are like cringe, like super beast movies like Godzilla and Kong. I'm excited for that one. I have not seen it yet, but
I do love Adam Wingard, so I will be saying it. Not because I'm a Kong fan, but I do love
Guys,
Adam.
for
Our
those of
brother-
you
I'm excited
listening,
for Baby Kong.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
brother Grant, that I think you've met, he has Godzilla, the first one, in his top 10. So
yeah.
No
Yeah,
way.
it's crazy. I
Yeah.
don't know
Holy
what.
cow.
it's
I loved
criminal.
-1. Like that
Minus
movie
One
I
was
need to
I've
see
is
that
heard
one.
amazing.
it's good. Yeah, I want to see
Yeah,
it.
you got to watch it. It was
But
really
yeah,
good.
Bryan Cranston Godzilla.
Yeah. Different strokes, Cameron.
Heisenberg.
Dude.
Oh, speaking
I'm-
of Heisenberg, sorry, really quick, I forgot to mention on our last episode 7 when the girl draws an image of John Doe. It looks so bad. It looked like the Heisenberg. Do you remember that? I totally thought of the scene from Scott Pilgrim. You know when he throws up the image. Have you seen this woman?
Okay. I thought that he goes, do you know a girl with hair like this? Yeah, that's Ramona
Ramona
Flowers.
Flowers.
He's like, what?
How did you get that from that
Instantly
image?
knows who it is.
But I just
That's
love when
so
Brad Pitt
funny.
sees the image. He's like, "Yeah, looks just like him." And it's just like it looks like a little child drew it. It's so
Oh
bad.
my gosh, I love it.
Sorry,
That's so
what
funny.
were you saying?
Yeah.
No, just some of the other ones I'm looking forward to. Civil War, the A24 film. I thought the trailer looked really interesting.
Yeah,
It'll be
Alex
interesting
Garland.
to see how that one pans out. And then Kevin Costner is starring and directing the Horizon movies. They're like, I don't know if you guys saw the trailers for that, but apparently it's like going to be 2 movies, but they come out like a month apart from each other this summer. I haven't looked too much into it, but I saw the trailer and I thought, oh,
Yeah,
it's kind
is
of interesting.
that the
I like history.
Western or
Yeah,
no,
it's a Western. It's
yeah,
like
it's
about like
like,
Native
yeah.
American.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
expanding in the
Yeah, like
US
a
after the Civil
colonial.
War or something like that. Yeah.
Have you seen Open Range?
Like-
That was really good that he directed.
I haven't.
Yeah, if you like a good Western and with Kevin Costner, he acted and directed in that one. It's really good.
Seen
Okay,
Dances
I'll
with
have to check
Wolves?
that one
Oh,
first.
damn, that's
Of
another one.
course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, it's a good one. Kevin Costner.
I'll let one of you guys talk about the
Let's just put it a
next
safe
Guy
bet. Yeah,
Ritchie movie
if
coming.
you have your dad watching over your shoulder, just throw in a little Kevin Costner for him. You know, throw him a bone. They'll love that. I'm just saying, dads, they love Kevin Costner.
True.
That's hot take on this podcast.
because Evan's dad's a Texas boy.
You got Cameron. We can't hear what you're saying. There you go.
Oh, I was just saying, especially Evan's dad, because his dad is from Texas, right?
Yeah.
Like,
He'd always be watching Westerns, old
I'm
Westerns.
assuming he's
He
watched
still
all of
does.
Yellowstone as well, then, or not?
Oh, loves Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Our dad does too.
You mean the Bible tie?
Well, I'm sure.
Bible.
I'm sure if he liked Yellowstone, I'd recommend Longmire if he hasn't watched that either. Even though I've only seen one episode of Longmire, still think he'd like that. It's right up his alley. All right.
I was like, I recommend a show to him that I've never seen.
I haven't even seen. Yeah, I wouldn't even bother saying it. But it's like it's funny that you might know what someone's into just based on some of the recommendations or past things they've liked. Kind of like when you're watching The Gentleman, you're like, oh, you like this? Watch Snatch. Watch Lock, Stock, and Barrel. Watch Sherlock Holmes. Watch every Guy Ritchie. And then you could even lean into Edgar Wright and be like, I think you'd like Hot Fuzz. I think you'd really like.
Yeah.
You know, it's even more of a comedy, but it still delivers on the action. So, all right, Cameron, why don't you share movies that you've seen lately and movies that you're looking forward to?
I've been like a really hot guy watching super cool stuff like Adventure Time. And
A
it's
really
so
hot guy.
good. And then also watched the newest episode of Invincible. Holy shiz. I don't know how they're gonna wrap all this crap up in one episode.
One episode.
Holy fudge, bro.
Dude, I'm behind. I'm 2 episodes behind. I gotta catch up. This is crazy. Maybe 3.
I was like, there's like 4 subplots going on right now, bro. Like,
well, I'm sure they're not going to, right? They can make it next season.
I know, but I don't. I want it to be finished, and I don't.
I want it to be now. I will say, if they take as long as to make the next season, that'll be a bummer. So yeah, I hope.
Jordan said it's supposedly coming out the second half of this year, but
I mean, that's what it said on IMDb, but IMDb isn't always right.
And also, they're notorious for not carrying through or following through on that.
Well, to be fair though, I do believe that if I'm not mistaken, I believe like Robert Kirkman and the creators of the show are like listening to some of the fan feedback. I'm not sure because I've heard this. I don't know if that's true.
I believe that because what's her name is a different human being.
Yes. Oh my
God. His girlfriend is not a total.
Yeah, Amber was the devil in season 1, and then it's the season 2, episode 1. She's like, hey,
I'm a good person.
I'm like, you're not fooling any of us.
Well, and to me, it's like, I mean, I don't know how much longer you can keep that going. Like, because I even like the idea that she knew and she was still hurt. Like, that was a clever gotcha. But then you're like, this quickly doesn't make much sense because it's like all the things that she says she believes. It's like, but if it gets in the way of you and me, if it gets in the way of you and me making out, and you're literally saving humankind, like. But I like that. It's like we kind of wanted more of the Spider-Man, and well, no, she's the worst. MJ's the worst.
You're talking about Sam Raimi, MJ.
I know. No. Let's do like more of a. You need more of like a Emma Stone. She's like, okay, quirky and fine with it, but like sad that you're gone.
And a good actress. That usually helps too.
I like her. She's great.
No, she's bad. Jordan just thinks she's cute.
Emma
and
Stone.
then no.
I feel like if she were just
what's her name? Kirsten Dunst.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
I really like her in Fargo season 2. She's great.
She's good.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Civil War because she's in that, and so is her husband, the Jesse Plemons. And I'm like, I hope their marriage isn't breaking apart. Are they going to be a couple on the same side on this one? I don't know. Jesse Plemons and Kirsten Dunst. And they met on Fargo season 2, and they became a couple. So I just thought that was funny. So full circle here, folks.
I also watched why am I blanking on the name? Inside Out. And holy cow, that movie, it might be top 150 for me. I mean, it's just like, I love it because it's literally psychology, and it's a lot of what I do as like a life coach and like what I do in my business.
Is it your first time watching it, Cameron, or?
No, it's second time, but it's first time watching it since like, I don't know, high school.
The Awakening.
And did you cry when Bing Bong or whatever his name is?
Yo, I did, dude, and I saw it coming from a mile away. I was like, I know what's gonna happen. And
go save Riley. I was like,
oh god, they're gonna leave him on the asteroid. I'm still crying. Yeah.
No, but I love the final message that because I feel like, especially in psychology, people try to break things down into two, like they try to put stuff in boxes, and it's like, oh, you're experiencing this emotion right now. But I love that at the end of the movie, it's essentially like you can experience multiple emotions in the same experience. Like you can be happy and sad at the same time. Like you can be happy and sad that you're moving, or like happy and sad that school's over.
I just didn't like that they didn't express that Riley lost her train of thought. There's a scene where the train falls off the tracks. She loses her train of thought, and there's no mention of it in the real world. I just would have liked to see a moment where she had a brain fart, and I'm like, it's because your train derailed. I have that all the time.
That's pretty good.
Of course, my train tracks are like riddled with senility and Alzheimer's dementia, but
and then
I'm just saying it was a perfect pun. But then again, that doesn't make a masterpiece. But
and then last night, I just been watching a lot of young girl coming of age movies. Apparently, I also watched Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
It's good,
And
right? It's
Rachel
good.
McAdams is so hot. Oh my gosh, bro.
think-
Every single time she came on screen, I just turned to Colton and I was just like, oh my gosh, she's so gorgeous. And like anytime she had something wrong, I was like, it's okay, baby. It's okay. And Colton's like, you're distracting from the movie. But I loved the message that because I was kind of worried at one point in the movie that I was like worried that they were going to go in a specific direction of religion. But I really liked how it's just like the final message was like, maybe you might not know, but like it's okay to still act in faith, which I thought was really cool, especially for like a coming of age of like a 12-year-old girl movie. I was like, wow, that's really cool. I also like that they didn't villainize anyone. Like you could even see the little regret of the girl who was kind of rude to some of the people, kind of like, maybe I shouldn't. But like didn't
I don't know, but those grandparents, you thought about being baptized. I think they were the villains in the
yeah,
movie.
bro. I was like,
What the fuck are you all doing here? We're just worried about her soul. It's like, get out of here. You haven't even reached out in 12, 14 years. Get out, dude.
First question's like, we have so much to catch up on. So are you going to Sunday school? I'm like, that's question number one.
That's the first question.
For the first time ever.
I love it.
That's
so
crazy.
You going to Sunday school? Actually, she's Jewish. She's been to temple.
Yeah.
Grandma. So good, dude.
Yeah. So but really enjoyed that and like good performance. And I was really
thank
impressed
you,
with
Ty,
the girl.
for that recommendation.
I'm glad you guys all saw it. Yeah,
the young girl actress did a really good job. Like best girl actress I've seen in a long time. Like she like her performance was believable and at the same time subtle.
I'd take her over Saoirse Ronan any day. Saoirse Ronan, way overrated.
What's she in?
She was in The Lovely Bones. That actress. She's in Little Women. She's an upcoming actress. They think she's the best thing since sliced bread. I'm like, over. She's the female version of Timothy Chalamet. Also over. Now again, I like Timothy Chalamet. And,
it's like King and Dune 2. I'm gonna
no, but again, part of me is like, is it just Timothy Chalamet that I like though? Like I like those stories.
True.
Could Zac Efron been the king? I don't know. Maybe you could have. Maybe you couldn't have.
That's a very wild take.
No. And then again, after watching that wrestling movie, I'm like, okay, he can do.
Dude, guy's got freaking chops. But again, I think he does a good job at being the small Weasley guy that can give rousing speeches. So I'll give that to Timothy. It's like we might die today, and I definitely will because you could snap me in half. But I am gonna die alongside you.
Yeah, that mud saved him. So
and then
saved
him. It did.
Okay, and it didn't save Jon Snow in Game of Thrones. That's what I thought. Nugget.
Saved him. That's so funny.
And then Jordan came down, and we watched Decision to Leave, which was pretty crazy. It reminded me of like the cinematography and just overall feeling felt a lot like Parasite, just like very clean. But then like there's like a eerie sense of like order, where you're like something doesn't feel right because everything's so clean and like set and like in its place. And I did enjoy kind of like the double twist of like there's like a first plot and then the second plot. It's like, oh well, maybe because he fell in love with this girl who is like,
don't spoil it for him.
Well, it's okay. The movie's in South Korean, right? So you can't spoil in English, right?
Cameron's like Cameron and Ty are notorious for spoiling stuff. I'm just saying.
I wasn't even gonna
true.
spoil. I was just saying like the second half was really interesting because it's like he's considering like whether this chick is like a criminal
killer or not.
Yeah, a killer or not. And then like he runs into her later. And then he's like, is she? But then he also like has feelings for her. Really clever like plot. And then watched It Follows with Jordan. Really fun and clever premise. Like me and Jordan were talking, and it was funny. I was talking with.
You can watch It Follows, but I guess
there's zero demonic stuff in It Follows. It's literally just
literally a demon that follows you.
It's in human form the entire time. There's not a single representation ever of anything paranormal.
What are you talking? Are we talking about the same movie? The demon, that? Okay, yes, okay. You're right. Like a giant in the hallway appearing out of freaking nowhere.
Yeah,
naked men on the roof.
Cameron would get afraid of that part. The big giant tall guy
Terrifying.
because his eyes look like all blacked out.
Or the child crawling through the door.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
child.
plenty of. Anyway,
See, but for me, it was more like to me, it was like a zombie movie because it was
I
like
think we
Yeah.
can.
I
I agree with that.
at a slow pace.
No,
It was
they are based very much on the old zombie movies where they're like just slowly walking always
Yeah.
towards you.
But I
I
also
love the
decided-
idea that Cameron's like, well, if it's a really well done horror movie, I can't deny that it's. I
And
should,
that's
I
what
should
we,
try it.
that's why I think he should
I-
try The Witch. I think he
yeah.
should
No,
try it.
that and Hereditary, I'll never watch. You're crazy. Jordan's like, oh well, The Witch. The only scene you need to skip is when Satan puts his hand on her shoulder. I'm like, so that's paranormal. I don't know. I'm not sure where you see the line of paranormal, but that's the line.
It's one scene, like I said. Skip that. The rest of it, Cameron's great.
And then what I'm
Speaking of
looking
Hereditary, real quick. Hereditary, worst trailer of all time. They just edge you the whole time that there's going to be a lot of the little baby sister in the movie, and she's just gone after 15 minutes. I remember.
Well, you
'cause
can't
she, like,
blame
does
her.
this
It would have
weird
been hard
noise,
for
like,
her. It would have been hard for her to like remain in the movie when
She's so
considering what
That's
happens
true.
to her.
I was,
Dude,
I just
I
didn't
think
she
think
should
that
have
was gonna
still been in the
happen.
movie.
she's the scariest part of the movie. She's like Helen Hunt and Ice.
Wait, you've seen
Dude,
Hereditary,
but
Cameron?
she's like in
No.
she's
I've-
like in the first
Oh,
10
okay.
minutes.
I was
trailer.
gonna say, Cameron, you were blowing my mind. I'm like, I guess I don't know what movies are too much for you because it's like
No,
you
I
named
think-
like the three scariest, most perturbed movies of the last decade. And anyway, so sorry.
No,
I mean, The
keep
Wailing
going.
was. I
So
was
funny.
Wailing
yeah,
is up there. Yeah,
definitely up there.
very unsettling.
It was
Anyway,
if the practical
Jordan's like, Cameron, turn away now. And Cameron's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
holy
Jordan's
frick.
oh my gosh. And I see it and I'm like, well, it's so funny because Jordan did so hard and like I'm like having to cover and not look for like 10 minutes of the movie and he's like, I can't remember when it is. And I'm like, am I missing important stuff? And Grant's like, yeah, you missed like 10 minutes of important stuff. And then we did all of that just for we go to YouTube to look up an explainer video. And then on the cover of the YouTube video, the thumbnail is him in the demonic form. I'm like, so I just did all that effort just to see it in the thumbnail.
Oh man.
But then looking forward to Monkey Man.
Yeah.
Dave
That's
Patel
directed. Yeah,
directing it. Yeah,
he's
looks
directing it, which I
fun.
thought was kind of cool. Yeah.
and then starring in it. It looks very similar to kind of like a Nobody or
John Wick.
John Wick esque. So like should be pretty fun. I think he's a good actor. And then I'm not sure if he's a good director. We'll see.
Mhm.
And then I'm excited for the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Guy Ritchie's new movie that's coming out that literally just looks like War Gentlemen. I'm like,
Oh yeah, man, he is dishing out stuff like
I know it's crazy.
crazy.
I'm like, you came out with 2 movies last year, like and
You must have a good editor that's chopping down these movies, dude.
and then obviously the last thing I'm gonna watch more Adventure Time because you know that's what hot guys do. And then the last thing that I'm looking forward to is the season finale of freaking Invincible. But I at the same time I'm so mad because then it's done. But then hey, like Jordan mentioned, we get The Boys in 3 months.
I gotta be. I didn't even finish The Boys season 3. Was it or 4? I'm behind. Like
It is good. It's a slight diminishing returns, but you gotta watch for
Yeah.
Butch. You gotta watch for Butch.
Oh,
and
I know.
Homelander.
Butch and Homelander. Yeah, 100%.
Well, I don't know. Butch just I'm kind of falling off but I like Homelander and his dad.
Butch is just becoming a little irredeemable. I'm like, how
Yeah,
are you almost on the same level as Homelander? This is
Yeah.
goddamn-
Homelander I'm still rooting for in a sadistic way, but then dude, his
Rooting
dad,
for?
Soldier Boy.
yeah, rooting for is
Yeah,
interesting.
what, exactly, Jordan, are you rooting
Dude,
for?
when-
That he
when
ends
he
up
ev-
murdering everyone?
Yeah, when he killed that chick,
And
that
a
dude.
fudge back.
When he killed that person in the crowd, seriously, I felt like I was with the crowd cheering. I was like, yeah.
Jordan would be on the side.
All
cheering.
right. It's that
Down with
freaking meme, dude. Of
Starlight.
Homelander, he's like, they really love me. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's it
All
for me.
right.
You go.
I was actually just gonna say I am gonna hop off.
There you go.
When
He
I was
doesn't want to hear
looking-
what we have to say. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Sorry, guys. But I was just looking at my notes. I forgot to mention something else about the gentleman that I wanted to earlier.
Hit it.
Whenever we were talking about like the scene where they actually like start chasing the kids after the Russian kid falls out of the apartment. Whenever they whenever they start chasing the kids, apparently that wasn't in the original script. I don't know if you guys already knew that or not, but yeah, I just like I saw an interview. I think it was on Vanity Fair on YouTube with whoever plays Charlie Hunnam, right?
Charlie Hunnam.
Um,
Yeah.
in like an
Very
interview with
forgettable
him, he
actor. Don't
said
worry,
that
if you don't remember him.
that like he said that yeah, that wasn't in the original script, but that whenever they like were filming those moments, they just like had a realization on set that like these young kids would totally have run away. And I'm glad that they like explored it. And those takes only took them like 45 minutes, they said. And I think that's like one of the most fun parts of the movie. And also just like an intense, not like super intense, but just like an action packed like little bit of the film, and you get to see more of his character in those moments. And I just thought that was super cool. I'm glad that they like realized that the movie wasn't just all supposed to be style, that like there could be a little bit more of action and like things that make sense in the movie. So
That's sick.
Neat. I
but
like that.
thanks for having me on, guys. I
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks so
it.
much for coming
Absolutely,
on.
It's been a
Evan.
lot of fun.
Great
Yeah.
having
Good
great
to have
having you
you.
on, man.
Okay, I'll talk to you guys later.
Peace out.
Yeah.
All right, Jordan, you want to know what I watched, dude? I watched a little movie called Late Night with the Devil because it hit theaters.
Don't you dare
and
spoil nothing. I'm
I won't
kidding.
spoil anything, but like I'll say this movie is network meets like I don't know. I'm trying to think of what it meets. It meets like
A good
kind of The
time.
Conjuring, but a little bit it reminded me of the Deadstream one.
Oh yeah.
Obviously because
Yeah,
it's
because it looked
better.
like kind of a lower budget, but putting it to practical effects and
Is it
stuff.
like POV or what?
Well, so the whole premise, late night, it's a late night television show, and it's like this was the last recorded tape of this TV show, and you get to witness it because they were filming, and they're like, this is the last episode of this guy's
That sounds kind of cool.
run. It's a great premise. It's a tight 93 minutes, and this is gonna be a habitual watch every year from now on. I'm gonna be watching this every Halloween. It's fun. I don't want to overhype it, obviously, because
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
okay. I like
blink and you
the
miss
trashy
things.
VHS movies, so it's all good.
Well, so not even a spoiler. The film is an aspect ratio of a
Yeah.
TV box at home, so it's like a tight square. So you're watching the movie the whole time, and it's very captivating. And I like the intrigue and the storytelling. Show don't tell. They do a really good job at showing you this final night of this TV show that was running, and it's really good. And the 70s is a perfect aesthetic for it. So I really liked it, and I'm excited to watch it again and discuss it. We'll have to discuss on the pod sometime or something. But yeah, it's spooky. It's definitely spooky. It's eerie, and it's got some awesome stuff. So without spoiling anything, because I'm excited to talk about the specific things in it, and that's why I also left my spoiler-free review on Letterboxd. But because I figured it's just like I just found out it's in theaters. I'm guessing did it hit Friday or Thursday this last week?
I have no idea because I was just
I
waiting for
just
it
saw if there was any good movies out, and like I was like, holy crap, Late Night with the Devil. It was completely sold out in one theater, and then I only had like a few seats left, and I was like, yeah, I got to go see this. So I'm glad to see people supporting our boy David Desmelkian. So love him. I know if I'm saying his name right, Desmelkian, Desmelkian.
Desmelchi?
Desmelkian. I'm gonna. He's now earned a spot in my memory bank. I now know his name, and before I even knew Charlie Hunnam's name.
Well, I just used to
He's
call him
always that guy, but yeah, he's eventually.
well, he's just at least he had the polka dot man name.
It's true, but
Better
even
than
then,
that guy.
no. So you know what's so funny about that, Jordan? I have a theory about this. So if you have a character like someone that's famous for one movie part and they can't escape that, he's always that guy, right? Like Homelander right now, I don't even know the actor's name. I can't remember it, but I will remember it if he gets one or two more roles where I can like respect him as an actor. Because it's like that was the role he was born to play. We all admit
Yeah.
it, right? Like Homelander is unbelievable. And I think he looks so much like Michael Fassbender. But anyway, it's so great to see an actor like that. So David Desmelkian, he was always that guy. He was always like a weird side character in a Denny Villeneuve film or Christopher Nolan, right? Like,
And I hope he keeps doing that in those
I do too. But
movies.
like after watching this movie, I'm like, this guy's got acting chops, and this movie's great. He held my attention. He was it was really good. So anyway, and it was really fun because it actually touched on something that I believe and I heard about. You know, it's one of those tinfoil hat conspiracies from the 70s, and I was like, okay, so it's like it just felt like it did its research, and the movie was really good, and so I'm just excited for everyone to watch it. So definitely give it a watch.
Everyone but Cameron
with the Devil. Someday, Cameron, we'll
I know
watch it.
you're making me want to watch it, but I know.
Oh, it's so
Cameron,
good,
come
dude.
with me to the theater. Let's go see it.
Absolutely not.
Oh, I know. So that was definitely a fun theater watch.
The way you're describing it, especially when on the TV whatever show, it immediately made me think of Zodiac and like the
Yeah. Well,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. It has.
migraine.
Well,
I'm like,
dude. Okay.
there's a demon
see,
inside of you.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
not a
It's
migraine.
yeah. So anyway, it's a lot of fun. So I definitely recommend for those of you who aren't too squeamish and or too sensitive to that kind of stuff, because there's definitely something afoot, something strange is going on.
That's my kind of movie.
Yeah, it's good. So
Better than Talk to Me?
Oh, so that's an interesting question. Did you see Talk to Me, Cameron, or not?
No.
Okay. Interesting you say that. I would say I like him different for different reasons. Like, I think I like this movie almost where how do I describe it?
You can tell me once Jordan's watched
Yeah,
it.
how about you talk about it later?
Well, we can talk about it because if you don't see it, it's fun to talk about, because I think you'd enjoy the premise.
Yeah, because it was fun. Jordan explained the entire premise of Talk to Me to me. And
yeah. So it'll be a fun discussion.
I think Cameron would like that one, but also
same thing with Sinister. Evan explained Sinister to me, and I was like, "Wow, that sounds pretty sick."
You would love the first half, yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes that's just fun. It's a good place to keep it. Just a fun story you heard, and you're like, dude, it's a great story, but yeah, you have to get through.
That was basically all rated R's before I could watch rated R's growing up. It was just like hearing about them and like imagining them in my head. I'm like, oh my god.
Can you at least tell me about it?
Tell me more. Give me the deets, man.
Yeah.
You sound like a crack addict. You're like,
even if I can't have it myself, just telling me about it.
I just sat in my imagination a lot. I was just imagining them all. That's seriously the best part about like going to old blockbusters where you just look at the movie covers and imagine like what they were about.
Dude, man, R.I.P. Blockbuster, man. Bring Blockbuster back. Dude, I think that would have been the perfect job. If it wasn't working in a movie theater like you did, Jordan, the second best job would have been working at Blockbuster.
Oh yeah,
recommending movies and telling people. No, you definitely don't want to recommend that movie. You want to recommend. Yeah, you want to rent this movie.
That's what all the
and then they come back and they're like, "This movie sucked," and I'm like, "Get out! You can't rent movies here anymore. Get out!
Get out!"
They're like, "We're a dying business. What are you doing, scaring away customers?" I'm like, "This uncultured swine came in here and he was renting freaking Barbie for the fourth time. Yeah, Man of Steel."
I can't help you. Get out.
Oh, I know. Can't help you. Get out. Anyway, so yeah, that's really one of the only movies I want to talk about, and I'm looking forward to seeing the other episodes of Invincible. Other than, I think that's it. And then I watched the awful, Heroin to the Eyeballs. It's Love is Blind, stupidest show of all time. Finished it for another year. I get it. Like,
I was like, Train Spotting? What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's just injecting smack right into your eyeballs. It's like digital heroin, and you watch it and it's not good. These are awful people. They're all just there to find love, and Love is Blind. It's like, but honestly, if you just take 2 seconds to think about it, the show is like Love is Blind, and they like make an emotional connection, not meeting each other, and then they meet, and then they go off and live together in paradise. Then they go live off with their families in the real world, get their phones back, and then they get married. And I'm like, so what part of this is Love is Blind? Like, if you want true Love is Blind, I want to see people like from the time they make an emotional connection, and then they finally meet at the altar, and they have to say yes and to a total stranger, right? Because like, it's always interesting in the show. One of the most interesting parts is when they do meet for the first time and they've agreed to marry each other. Now that's high stakes, obviously. So that reunion's always awkward in some cases. Some cases it works. Of course, they hire like really beautiful, athletic people on the show. I want to see some like vertically challenged people. I want to see people with like missing limbs.
You need to watch
eye patches. I want to see like a bunch of disfigured people, like morbidly obese people. I want to see like circus freaks and like prove to me that Love is Blind. I want some people that are like, dude, there's no one that can love this guy.
They literally
loser.
They literally do that in The Curse. Remember when he's watching the show and the burnt victim?
Yeah, dude, that's so true. It's like, it's love. What was it? Hot love or something, or third degree love burn or something like that. He's like, this guy's covered in third degree burns. He just looks like freaking a Deadpool, you know? And then I'm looking forward to, Deadpool 3. It's funny you said that, because I'm definitely looking forward to that. Comedy trios are always good, dude. It's always a comeback years later, and they're like, throw the best at it. So I'm excited. And let's see. I think that's pretty much everything. Yeah, like I said, Late Night with the Devil. Gotta go see that.
I'm still recommending Burning Love to you. I know you might not ever watch it.
Yes, Burning Love. Okay.
It makes fun of the show you're so addicted to.
Yeah, Bachelor and Love is Blind.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I'm watching, Nick recommended when he was here on the pod, Resident Alien, which is very fun. I'm
Oh
enjoying
yeah.
that.
I saw the poster for that. Has anyone heard of the 3 Body Problem and have any interest in watching that?
I've heard of it.
Saw
but
on Netflix. It just looks so different. I was like, I'm kind of willing to give that a shot. I
yeah,
haven't
if you
seen
watch it, let me
reviews.
know if it's worth checking out.
Yeah, I will.
Red Letter
I
Media
just keep
talked
seeing it.
about Andor. I need to watch that.
Andor was, again, to me,
Oh,
it's
you
like too
watched it?
little, too
Okay, if
late.
you thought it was like, then I'll just skip it.
The show Andor, like, okay, so the whole problem with like the Disney Star Wars thing, it just seems too little, too late. Like the show's good,
Oh,
but you're
well, then
almost like,
that's
I
all I'm
just
wondering.
don't care about Star Wars
Oh,
anymore,
I
though.
don't at
Like,
all. I
yeah,
just want to watch good stuff. But
and so again, the show is good, but it's like in this totally useless universe of Star Wars.
well, I don't care for the universe at all. I just want to look for good stuff. I don't care.
I'm just never gonna forget Rich Evans saying, "If you told me years ago that I would be dreading, I'd be paid to watch Star Wars, and I would be dreading it, I would have told you you're crazy." Is what he said, and I'm like, dude, that's so right, dude. It's just how I feel as an adult man watching Star Wars. It's so sad.
And then
Anyway.
obviously I watched Invincible as well, and it's
Yeah.
amazing. Ty, get on that now.
I know. It's good stuff. I love it. There's a lot of stories there. Can't wait to unpack that shiz. Well, I had to finish Love Is Blind, of course, which is, you know, a milestone in television. Anyway, so guys, this has been Futro Hidden Movie Gems. Leave us an email, futuremovies@gmail.com. Tell us a movie you'd like us to review, and leave us a comment. Friendly comments, preferably, but we do like the salty ones as well, because they make me laugh. I need a good hearty chuckle. So what was it, Jordan? Someone actually said something positive about, what was it? Read what was the comment again? It was like, hey,
it's our highlight video. He said, I found my people.
I found my people. Hey, we're so glad you found us. The YouTube algorithm found one soul and saved you and brought you to the light. So I'm so glad that happened. So welcome, listener. And we're talking about you. You're like the guy that commented on this video. Maybe he's done listening.
It's on our highlight. It's our highlight videos.
It's like different channel.
Different channel. They're a lot more positive reception. Everybody on this channel is like, "Where's the movie?
Why don't you guys review more films?" Like, maybe because I don't want to. How about that? Anyway, guys, we love you so much. You guys have a great week. Stay safe, y'all. Love you. Peace.
Bye.
Oh, Doc. Sorry, edit that out.